Hello and welcome to my little video walkthrough of the interface and registration and everything for the Unyokeable Adventures, which is online play for a live mod tournament coming up for 2015. So I'm going to be doing this on an emulator for an iPad. Special attention has been spent on making this mobile friendly because I do imagine a lot will be played on mobile. So from the link on the home page, you're going to end up on this page, which is where you're going to start into the game in one of three ways. If you're already registered, you'll sign in, or if you need to register as a party leader, or if you want to register as a player. And there's also the link below to the what is this document, which is a long written explanation of the whole thing that it's even more information than we're going to go through in this video, so you are definitely going to want to read that at one point. We'll click on the register as a party leader because you're going to have to register as a party leader first, and I don't want to go through every part of registration because I'm sure you've done registrations before. There are a couple things I do want to show for the party leader. When you go to register, you're going to need to decide the party's name, and I have a little tool here already because the names need to be unique. So when you think you have your party name figured out, you're going to need to test it against the database to see if it's already there. So I want to be the Fellowship of the Ring, but it's not there. I could be the Fellowship of the Monkeys and check, and that is going to be available, so I could be that. Don't choose any country names. This isn't countries, this is adventure parties. If you do put country name in there, I will rename you something that I want. You'll be familiar with what most of this stuff is. A couple things I do want to show are the perks, which are a couple extra skills your characters are going to get. And for a full explanation of the perks, you are going to read that what is this document, and down a ways in it gives an explanation of what all the perks are and whether or not it's scenario related or if it helps abilities or what. So you're going to want to read that for the perks if nothing else. Fill everything else out and submit it. And as soon as you register, you are going to be taken to, this is the party leader control panel, which is also considered the main page. Because people who are just going to be players are watching, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that part right now, because if you're a player and you log in, you won't see these buttons at the top, but you will see this. And the top part, and here where it says below, is your character dashboard. So the top part has the name of your group, your party, and it gives you a little rundown of how many yak pieces are in your party right now, which is the currency of the day. Your party roster is over here on the right. This, of course, is already filled out. When you go and you're the party leader, it's only going to be you at first until your party comes and registers, and then this will start to fill in. And while I'm talking about that, I do want to show real quickly, for a player registration, you're going to go in, fill your character name, and then the second line here is the adventure party you are joining. Okay, your party leader should have told you what the party name is, and then that will already be here. You can choose it. If the group is already full, it will be written out under here that they're full and not available. So this part is assuming everyone else has already gone and registered. Now, further down on your character dashboard, first we have here is just your regular character information, which is talking about your class, the perks you've chosen, affiliation we'll get into in a bit. Over here on the right is the general knowledge, which is the background to the adventure that every citizen has. So it's things like history of the city. There's a map, an explanation of the districts, a regional map of what the regular person knows. There are some legends. There's commonly known information like laws and penalties, how the currency works, various groups around town. And then there's a rumors area that you can go and read up on to see what current rumors are happening. Below that is class-related information. So each class has its own little quirks and nuances and associations. So Gandalf is a mage, so this shows his mage background, which explains some of the groups for mages. His two perks, Convincing Liar and Knowledge History. This area will probably not show very much regarding that. There may be links for certain things that will give you more information. There may be other things in here that will give you more information. Further down we have his membership offers. Now, there are various groups, sort of guilds around the city, and depending on your class and level and a little bit of random chance, you may be offered membership. And this sort of obnoxious orange color is going to be important as we're going through the interface, because this color tells you that there's something that you can do in that area. It tells you that there's some kind of form that you can fill out that is related to this particular area. And something that's important is you don't want to start the adventure until all of your players have had a chance to make their responses, because if they don't and you start the adventure, they won't be able to join anything. So the Conclave is a little more aristocratic and fancy pants, so Gandalf is going to join the Conclave, and this green color tells me that the database took that. And if I reload that now, this is going to feed in the information from the Conclave. And this is going to be a little bit of an explanation for what the benefits are to Gandalf for being a member of the Conclave. This is the seal. I don't actually have a seal to bear, but this just is the identifying seal. And so that's the basics to the player dashboard. Now we're going to scroll back up to the top, because there's we want to get into this part up here. Okay, so prior to actually beginning the adventure, you need to choose one of three places that your party is going to start in. And basically there are three different taverns that your party will start out in. A sort of low-class, sketchy, a little bit dangerous tavern called the Bucket of Blood. And here's a full write-up about what you'll find at the Bucket of Blood and who's probably the best clientele for the Bucket of Blood. There is a sort of working-class tavern called the Hard Hands Inn, and it's sort of a middle-of-the-road kind of thing. Bucket of Blood would be if you were mostly sketchies, if you were assassin and thief and dirty ranger and things like that. Hard Hands is probably druid, fighter, kind of neutral kind of classes. And then there's Muses and Grapes, which is the sort of hoity-toity, highfalutin tavern inn, which, you know, your calves and your clerics and things like that are probably going to be received better here. Now, in a diverse group, you may have a hard time choosing based on classes, so you definitely want to think about the sort of connections that you want to make, because each group has, or each tavern, inn, bar, whatever, starting point has its advantages as far as the kind of contacts you'll make, the information you'll get, and so there isn't one that's better than the other. They're just sort of different ways that your adventure is going to be influenced, at least at the beginning. And for us, now this isn't going to start the adventure. This is just for me choosing where I'm going to start the adventure. And you may want to decide this with your group, and then once you do, go and do your background reading, really sort of focusing around the area. I'm going to go ahead and start in the Hard Hands Inn, so I'm going to select that and click the It is Decided button. Now, all that did was kick me back to the Party Leader control panel and move the adventure status here. You can see to pre-game, which means we're still not playing. And it may be in pre-game because I haven't actually opened up the adventure yet, or the adventure may be open if you want to play it, but some of your party may not have made their decisions on things, so you may not have wanted to start it yet. But I'm going to assume that my whole group is squared away, and so I'm going to go ahead and click the Begin the Adventure button here. And of course, the server's going to churn a little bit there on that. And alright, so we're back. It refreshes back to the same page. It didn't take us to the adventure yet, but what it did was went ahead and bumped us to adventure status is ready, and we can play now. So now, to show the interface of the adventure, the top part here is basically your storyline, and on this parchment background, so you have a title, and there'll be pictures and wonderful things. Now, your group comes across an NPC, which cities and districts and NPCs and things are all going to be in this different kind of font, so you'll be able to know things that you really want to pay attention to. But you meet this senator along the road, and he hails your group by name, and then he goes down the line of the group, mentioning you all by name, and saying that he knows what class you are, including Frodo the thief, who doesn't say he's a thief, he calls him an acquirer of goods, and Sam Gamgee in this, who is actually a assassin, calls him a person who does what you do. Now, the point of this really doesn't have anything to do with an adventure or whatnot. This is just to show you that the game knows all of this information: your level, your class, your perks, and there will be things in this part that you will or won't see based on your characters. So it's not just a straight, everybody is going to see the exact same thing all the time. It's going to be customized as you go along. So below that, there is the email your party area, which I'm going to skip over right now. We don't really need it at this second, and I'll show that to you a little later. Underneath that, the assets quick look area basically is going to show you your current coin count and a short list of any special items that you've picked up. And there's down here in the options area, this is where you'll be doing most of the choices that move the adventure along. And since of course this one only has one choice for you to continue to the bar, we'll go ahead and hit submit. So as you're getting to the bar, you hear some people talking ahead of you about some old man talking about something. So it's not really much to do there. We're going to go ahead and enjoy some drinks, and members of the group start to filter out throughout the hard hands in to see what sort of sponsors you can find. Being an adventurer costs money, and you guys don't really have any money. So again, we have this orange area that says you can make this decision, you can do something here. And there will be places where when you do this, it will move the adventure along, where you'll click that, the page will refresh. You won't have to scroll down to the bottom and do something. You may do something right here, and that does it. So what it says here is this decision will not move the scene forward, but it may be open new options below. So I'm going to tell you in this somewhere whether or not what you do is going to move you forward. And these sponsorships, again, are custom. It's looking for character classes, character levels, skills, things like that. And I'm going to take the perk from the Metal Union. So we accept that, and as we can see, it says to reload the page to see. We'll scroll down, and there used to be just one option down here, and now we can see that there are two options. And in the writing, it says here, you've acquired a sponsor, and it says go to the guild hall now to pick up your boon and payment. Now, if you skip over doing something when it says to do it now, you may not get another chance to do it. So be sure to read the pages and understand what it's saying. because parts of the adventure will be a web, and there'll be parts that you can go back to, but parts, unfortunately, are going to be straight up linear. And so if you don't take the opportunity when you get it, then you're not going to have the opportunity. A lot of things you'll be able to go back to are things that don't have any sort of temporal element to them. Things like if you're going down a hall and there's a crossroads, there's a split in the hall, and you go down one way, you'll be able to go back, and you'll be able to backtrack all the way because it's not involved. There's nothing fixed to the time in that. If there's a vendor, perhaps, who's in the market and you have a chance to see or talk or interact with them, and you miss it, and you go back, they may not be there because they may have just packed up and gone for the day. So when you're told to do that, now is the time to do something, you should do it now. So we're going to go ahead, click on the fact that we want to use our sponsorship and we want to go to the guild hall. And that kicks us to a scene where we're outside the guild hall, and says if you are coming, the guards will let you in. If you are going, they will tell you to be on your way. We can go back, but no, we are coming. And inside the guild hall, you're only going to get in the guild hall if you have a sponsor and haven't picked up your boon yet. The different boons depend on who is sponsoring you. We were sponsored by the Metal Union. So when we get there, they explain to us that everybody in our party is going to get a bonus of +1 to our attack, because we're assuming that everybody in the party can use some kind of metal weapon. And but it tells us things like Gandalf, due to being a mage, will get no bonus to his defense. Legolas, because he's a druid, will get no bonus to his defense. And same with thieves and whatnot, or as if, I think a thief actually does, because it can be better studded. But if there are characters who can't use metal, of course, they're not going to get extra metal defense. And at this point, you can still accept the boon, or you can go back without accepting the boon. But we came to get this boon, so it hasn't happened yet. It doesn't happen until we accept it. So I'm going to go ahead and click the accept. And it ran, and it kicked us back outside to the guild hall. And since we're going now, it doesn't even give us an option to go back in. We've already done our business, but it says go back on to the tavern. So we head back. And when we get to the tavern, we come across a gentleman who challenges us to a game of riddles for a fine silver dagger versus 10 coins. So we're flush with money because part of our sponsorship paid us 300 yak pieces. So we're going to go ahead and accept the challenge and click on that. So here's a riddle. And I'm not going to read through the whole riddle because that's actually the riddle in the beta, and you might want to play it later. But down in the area, we can see this isn't radio buttons anymore. This is an input field and a button, or we can go back. So there's a one-word answer, it says, and we have made 0 attempts of a total of 1 allowed. So we know there may be times when you get several attempts to get something right, and that will be noted here. You might get like 5 chances to guess something. This is going to be used a lot for there might be a map in the top with a bunch of different locations, and you'll need to be figuring out which one you want to go to, or which you need to go to, or which would be good to go to. It may be a puzzle or a password or anything like that, and this is just going to tell you ahead of time whether or not you get one shot at it or a few shots. I'm going to guess monkey, and so I click make attempt, and it says, oh, I'm wrong, and he gives the answer, but I block that out so that, again, you don't see it. He took my money, and so here it says 395 plus or minus the 10. This is that 395 was what we had before. The plus or minus the 10 is the 10 that just happened. So when we go to the next scene, you'll see that's down to 385, hopefully. So let's check that. Yep, 385. And there's another plus or minus 10. That is because you spent 10 in the bar. So here's the main scene from the bar, and this is where a gentleman comes in and tells you about an important mission. And this is where we're going to go ahead and do the email the party. Now, all these buttons will email each player in your group individually, but there's also this send all on timer, which is a convenience that's built in. I'll go ahead and hit that. And you'll see while that's being sent, the options down below have been taken away. It's because this page has to run and send each of those emails. Unfortunately, this is a little bit of a spam guard to where I can't have a button just go and send a bunch of emails off my server, or they will block them. So basically this page has to run through each one, send it, get a confirmation, but at least you don't have to sit there and hit all the buttons. And the reason you're sending these emails to everyone in the party is that, of course, the players in the party aren't seeing this because it's just the party leader, unless, of course, they're standing behind them in a group. So I wanted to show this is on a simulated iPhone 6. So the email that went out from that to one of the players, which is I think this is Sam. So it has all the words there that were on the main page. So they're seeing the entire story as far as the party leader sees it. But this is where classes and skills come into play, because Sam is an assassin, and so he has these assassin insights. So he knows this old man, where he comes from, knows he travels alone, and newfound wealth, blah blah blah. But Sam has perks also that are shady contacts, and so it actually says he probably shouldn't hang out with this guy because the other shady contacts wouldn't like it. Sam's also a witty conversationalist, so this is assuming that he's already talked to some people in the bar and has this extra information. Now, it's up to the players to relay this information to the other people in their group to see, to help them determine decisions. This information for a ranger might give information about how many monsters they think are in a group. So the ranger would tell the whole group, or not if they were, hiding something. But this is where all the different perks and classes are going to get their impact. And while we're here, I just want to show what this would look like for the party leader on that iPhone 6. Is that we can see that this is a different group, actually. This is the three. So this is Conan, Akiro, and Subutai. And poor Subutai's dead. So you can see how it's formatted for mobile. So you can still do it on mobile, but I do recommend the party leader use a tablet at least. So we're going to hop back to here now that we've done that. I want to show the areas where it has the options where it has the person's name bold and italic. You're seeing that because that character either has a skill, which is shady contacts here, or is a class. You'll also see this for coins. If there are services that require money, if you don't have the money, it will show you that you don't have enough money, but what the service could be. If you do have enough money, it gives you the option. It could be items that you could use. It could be affiliate your sponsorship. There are a handful of different things that can factor whether or not that comes up. We're going to ask the old man what he's on about. So he goes and tells his story, and we're going to accept the job, and we're going to reconvene for the next course of action rather than just run off. So the guy's gone to bed for the night. Now Frodo Baggins, the thief, wants to go ahead and hit his room for that bag of coin he saw, which is a viable option, even though the guy just hired you. You could try that if you want. I'm going to go ahead, just collect the money, and head off. So here we have special item found, a letter from Baron Von Von, and it says item hidden from thieves in parentheses. The item hidden from thieves in parentheses will appear on special items that you found that you cannot lose. And a couple reasons you can't lose them. One would be we're assuming it's something that's important enough that it's really protected, or it will be something that you really couldn't lose, sort of like a sketch from memory, or a fairly common item that really wouldn't be stolen or will be easy to replace. And so now you can see the ASIC's Quick Look has updated, and we have the letter there. Now we're getting ready to leave town, and so we have our different options. Now, like I said before, here's where coinage comes in, is that you can use 50 yak pieces to hire horses, or you can use 150 yak pieces to hire an armored carriage. And in parentheses at the end of these, it tells you how long of a ride it's going to be. Now, the game is keeping track of time, because when it comes to who arrives at the live mod, in what order and how far apart, we're going to factor in the time spent in the game. Now, of course, it won't be a one-to-one relationship, because this is days and possibly weeks. So you could be a week behind another group. It'll be some sort of percentage. You know, the first group might arrive at the mod and have 10 minutes with the mod before the second group arrives, and then it might be another 6 minutes, and then 10 more minutes, and you know that'll be flexible based on how things actually go. We're going to save our money, and we're going to follow Aragorn, our level 26 ranger, into the wilds. So we go to the wilds, and again, basically every scene, you're going to hit the button to send all the emails, but I'm not doing it here in the video just because I don't really want to sit through that for the demo. But this part of the story is you come across a destroyed peasant hamlet, and it's in ruins, and so the options are to avoid running into whatever it is by going to the road, and then that'll add a day to the journey. Ignore this and press on, so that you can still get to where you're going on time. And your ranger again says that he can scout this out, but that will delay the journey by half a day or so. And here's where we were talking about before, where you can go back on things, is that this little or ... and then this giant ass button here basically is saying you can go from here back to where you were before, but it's also telling you how much time it's going to add to your adventure time. And since we've been on the road for days, it's saying here it's going to add 72 hours if you click that button and go back. So be aware of that if you get somewhere and you go down a path and then you want to just go back, because each one is going to be adding that time that you went down in the first place. We're going to ignore this and press on, because there's a job to be done. And of course we go along a little further, and we end up inside a goblin camp, and there are goblins all around us. So we come to a fairly important options window, because at this point we're not in a fight yet. You are surrounded by goblins, but there's still a chance that there may not be a fight. And here's where we see that we can try to use an item that we have, the letter from the Baron, to try to bluff passage or we can take 100 of our yak pieces and try to offer up a bloodless tribute to the Goblin War Master. Or the first option is fight, because goblins are for dying, and that's what we're going to choose. So at this point, you're in a fight. So you won't be able to back out or refresh or do anything here to get out of a fight. If I hit refresh, if I hit the back button, it's still going to drop me right back here. If I go back out to the control panel and hit play again, it's still going to drop me right back here. If you could avoid a fight that you started by doing any of those things, it really wouldn't be much of an adventure. So you're in a fight against 30 goblins. Now, this is probably the next most important thing to know, the battle interface. And so here's a summary of the attack and defense ratings for all of your characters. And these are the max numbers down here. The attack number changes based on what you put as the risk. The defense won't change. Now, the risk is a little bit of a complicated theory. Just know that you have to put a higher risk on at least some of your characters. 100% really should be for some, because what you're doing is you're establishing what percentage of the total damage each character is going to withstand, but at the same time, that percentage is going to match how much of their attack they use. So you can see Aragorn is set at 100%, and that means his attack is the 10 max of his attack, but he is also going to receive 14% of all the damage, which is a lot higher than Gimli, who is set at 50% now. He's only going to receive 7% of all the damage. Now, I actually, and when you change Legolas, we're going to set him at 50. Now, when we hit update, that only updated him. It didn't update anyone else. So, just to see what that did, he's going to take 8% now, and it shows that his attack is going to be 4 of what could have been 8. So I want actually a couple people to die during this battle. So I'm going to pull a couple more characters down to see if we can get some people to die but still win the fight. Alright, so when you've got everybody set, we'll just reload the page one more time to see. And we'll hit the let's do this button. Alright, so now we've gone to the combat resolution screen, and I will warn you, if you refresh here, it's going to kick you to the next scene. This is kind of a one-shot to look at, and each round by round, is going to give a summary of what happened, how many enemies there were, how the attacks went down, and if you open this area, it will show each of your characters, the risk percentage, what their initial defense rating was, how much damage they took, and then how much damage they did. So let's look at round 3 and see if by then anybody's dead. Looks like everybody's going to live. Alright, well, I was hoping that somebody would die, but they didn't. They all made it through. That's how powerful the Fellowship of the Ring is. If someone had died, say in round 3, say Gandalf had died, it would say here that Gandalf had been killed. And then, of course, in round 4, he's not going to factor into the battle. And when you would look at this, it would say that Gandalf was already dead. So the interface is actually going to handle all that programming as far as the characters who die in round 2 won't be fighting in round 3 and so on. And same with enemies. As you kill goblins, so there were 3 goblins killed, that left 10, and then there were 10 goblins killed of 10, so there were no goblins left. It's going to deduct those as you go, and because we have a high enough level cleric we get a note down here that says all living characters not at 0 will be restored to full defense. Now, if you don't have anybody, if you don't have a high enough level cleric and there's somebody at 1, which is basically mortal, walking mortal, they're going to stay there. So the next battle, they're probably going to die pretty quickly. So, if you have even a light healer, as long as they have 2 or more, they'll all be fully healed. There are no resurrections at this point for resing clerics, so unfortunately, no resing. So don't throw lives away. And then the battle summary: you faced 30 goblins, you looted 30 yak pieces and an antique map. So a little bit of booty. We'll go ahead and hit the continue. And in the bloody aftermath, we found the scepter of the Goblin War Master. That's interesting. So now we can see our assets is growing. Our yak pieces is much bigger. So I want to go ahead and show. So let's look at the assets. So here are the things that we found. How it's we have our 505 pieces. We have the antique map. We have the scepter of the Goblin War Master. Any of these things that have a click to review on, if you click on, I want to take a look at the scepter of the Goblin War Master. So it's going to have a picture, maybe some other information. And if it's an item that you should print out and bring to the mod, it's going to say on there, print this out and bring to the mod. If you forget to, then you didn't bring it. So there are going to be things you can find along the way that you may need at the mod, and it's going to be on the players to print them out. It's not going to be on me. So I'll have my hands full. Now that we've done some stuff, let's take a look at the history button. History tab. And now, if you've been emailing all of your players all along, they're going to have this ongoing record through their email of all the places you've gone, all the things you've done. This is just sort of a little short altogether summary of how you've gone through the adventure and the things you picked up, the money you've spent. Just sort of a reminder. I will use it to help determine some things on my end, but I'll be able to see where you went and what you were exposed to. The other button here that I haven't shown yet is the roster. And again, we basically saw this when we went through the battle, but this is always available. You can change the risk at any time. But if you ever do go into an actual battle, you'll be able to change it right beforehand. So there's no big rush to change it here. But one of the things that's here is that's not on the battle view is to show your average speed of your group. Now, one of the things that the way average speed basically gets calculated is first off based on classes. Of course, Rangers and Druids move very fast. Thieves, Assassins move pretty fast. And then as you get heavier or less physically impressive, we'll say, mages aren't moving very fast, fighters aren't moving very fast, clerics aren't really moving very fast. You're going to have an average to your speed, and that's going to be used to calculate your actual speed whenever you're going through the wilderness, whenever you're traveling large distances. And that may factor in when it comes again to who gets to the mod when. And here we can see that one of the people in the group, who is it? Aragorn has the animal pack handler perk. So he actually gave a 10% bonus to the overall speed of the group by him having that perk. Now you can't double up that perk in a single character, but if 3 people had that perk, the group could travel 30% faster. So that's, although it seems like a fairly lame perk, it will affect your group traveling. So we're not done playing yet, but that's about as far as I'm going to go in the video. I just wanted to show things like there's a contact form built in if you need to send me a note, and I have it pre-populated with the note that you really should send, and you can send that off, and I'll answer or check into whatever it is as I can. Trying to think of what else is important to show, but I think I covered most everything. So hopefully it's going to be a good time, and a lot of good adventure stuff, and the clever should do well with this. All right, thanks for watching.